She was New Orleans' brightest flame, Stella Mayfair, the witch who danced with power and paid the ultimate price. By the time her body hit the floor, her legacy was already unraveling. How did this seductive, reckless heiress become the Mayfair family's greatest cautionary tale? Stay with me as we unravel Stella's story, her rise, her rebellion, and the murder that changed everything. Let's dive into The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. Stella Mayfair wasn't just born into power, she embodied it. In the 1920s, New Orleans whispered her name. The Mayfair family, steeped in wealth and witchcraft, carried a legacy tied to the spirit lasher. But Stella was their wild card. As the designee of the Mayfair witches, chosen by Lasher, she wielded extraordinary magic. The Witching Hour describes her with long, glossy black hair, vivid green eyes, and a luminous presence that captivated all. She hosted extravagant parties at the First Street house, where witches and mortals mingled under glittering chandeliers. But these weren't mere celebrations. They were acts of defiance. The Mayfair family demanded secrecy and control, bound by their pact with Lasher, a spirit who blessed and haunted them for centuries. Stella rejected these constraints. She openly displayed her powers, telekinesis, visions, and summoning Lasher before outsiders. The Witching Hour recounts her hosting seances, laughing as objects floated, while her sister-in-law Carlotta watched with disdain. Carlotta, the family's stern matriarch, insisted magic remain hidden to protect their legacy. Stella, however, believed it should be embraced. As a result, tension brewed. Stella's parties were declarations of freedom, but her recklessness raised concerns. The Witching Hour suggests she sometimes drank heavily, sharing secrets too freely. Whispers grew among the family. Was Stella endangering their legacy? Could she be trusted with Lasher's power? Now, let's explore Stella's heart. She wasn't just a witch. She was a woman who loved with fierce passion. The Witching Hour portrays her as magnetic, drawing lovers of all kinds with her intoxicating charisma. One relationship stands out: her scandalous affair with her cousin, Cortland Mayfair. Cortland, older and calculating, was drawn to Stella's power and beauty. The Witching Hour implies he sought influence over her, perhaps even her role as designee. But Stella was no one's pawn. She balanced multiple lovers and flirted with danger, all while keeping Lasher dangerously close. Lasher, a cunning spirit tied to the Mayfairs since the 17th century, wasn't merely a protector. He craved a physical body. The Witching Hour explains that Lasher tempted every designee with promises of immense power, pushing them toward ruin. Stella played a risky game, teasing Lasher with hints of devotion before pulling away, as if testing his limits. But this dance had consequences. Her cousin Lionel, a devout and reserved man, observed her with growing unease. The Witching Hour portrays Lionel as deeply traditional, tormented by Lasher's whispers, which fueled his paranoia. He saw Stella's behavior not just as reckless, but as a betrayal of the family's sacred duty. As her parties grew more extravagant, Lionel's resentment deepened. Let's weave in a side thread: Antha, Stella's daughter, born in 1921. The Witching Hour describes Antha as a sensitive child, already showing signs of the Mayfair gift. Stella loved her fiercely, but was often distracted by her own rebellion, unaware of Antha's vulnerability. This oversight would shape Antha's tragic future as the next designee. By 1929, Stella's world was a tinderbox. Carlotta sought to curb her influence. Cortland maneuvered for control. Lasher pressed for his incarnation. And Lionel was unraveling. The Witching Hour doesn't detail every moment, but Stella's defiance had pushed the family to its limit. One night, during another lavish party, the music stopped. Lionel, consumed by zeal and possibly Lasher's manipulation, confronted Stella. The witching hour describes a heated exchange, Stella dismissing his warnings with a laugh, Lionel gripping a gun. Then, a shot rang out. Stella fell, her blood staining the polished floor. She was only 25. The aftermath was swift and devastating. Lasher, furious at losing his chosen witch, turned his influence on Lionel. The witching hour notes that Lionel died soon after. Carlotta seized control, determined to restore order. Anther, just 8 years old, was named the new designee, a role she was unprepared to bear. Picture this: a young girl staring at her mother's empty chair as Lasher's whispers echo in the silence. It's a haunting image, and it underscores why Stella's story resonates. Her murder wasn't just a loss, it fractured the Mayfair legacy. What's the lesson here? Stella Mayfair was a comet, radiant, bold, and destined to burn out. She defied the Mayfair family's secrecy, lived unapologetically, and paid the ultimate price. Her story, rooted in the witching hour, reveals the cost of rebellion in a world governed by tradition and supernatural forces. Yet Stella's influence endured. Anther, her daughter, inherited the designee's burden, facing her own tragedies under Lasher's shadow. Decades later, Rowan Mayfair would grapple with the same power and peril. The witching hour shows how Stella's defiance sowed seeds that shaped future generations, for better or worse. Let's tie in one final thread: the first street house in New Orleans. The witching hour describes it as a place heavy with history, where Lasher's presence lingers. It stands as a silent witness to Stella's rise and fall. If you visit, you might wonder, does Stella's laughter still echo in its halls? Stella Mayfair's story isn't just about a witch. It's about daring to shine in a world that demands shadows. Was Stella reckless, or was she a hero for challenging the Mayfair's rules? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this deep dive, until then, stay curious and beware of whispers in the dark.